Hello and good evening. Welcome to Let's Talk Kizomba. Let me bring in the host, Gario.
Good evening, everyone from around Europe and the UK. Welcome to Let's Talk Kizomba. This is the Kizomba Community Talk Show coming to you live on Facebook and YouTube. This is a show for dancers, teachers, DJs, promoters, and organizers to share, discuss, debate, and of course, talk about current topics. Our show aims to raise awareness amongst the dance community on all the hot topics on the dance floor. No topic is too taboo. We will talk about all subjects with no exception. You're encouraged to submit your questions and your concerns and join into the chat. It's more than a conversation, your dance, your opinion, your show. Now, just before we get into the show, we must say, please be mindful of others' opinions. Please no baiting. Please no rudeness. Please no targeting of the host, the presenter, and the panel, or of course, your fellow peers. And we'd like to say, please behave. But we don't mind it being controversial, but please do not be personal, and to events and organizers. Right, we are going to bring in our co-host. Of course, he's the entertainer extraordinaire, Super Dixon. Welcome to the show.
You're on mute.
Hey everyone, good evening, good night, boa noite everyone. Good to be back. One more Let's Talk Kizomba. And is it the time that I have to introduce myself again?
Oh yes, Mr. Dixon, please, to your adoring fans, introduce yourself.
Ladies and gentlemen, Super Dixon right here, DJ, MC, event organizer, memorial above everything else, dance teacher and entertainer extraordinaire. Like Gary said, I've been in the Kizomba scene in the UK. It's going to be 14 years. I am a Palop. So therefore, I grew up with Kizomba and everything Palop, all the different cultures in Portugal. And I'm happy to be part of this panel once again, talking about everything Kizomba alongside my co-host, Andrea, and the sweet panel that is coming next. Alim Azimbara.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dixon. We got a lovely panel today. We have the Foxy's missing. He's gone walkabouts, but we have two lovely panel members that are regulars, and we welcome them to the studio. Firstly, we'd like to welcome Sonia. Sonia, good evening to you. Welcome.
Good evening, Gario, Andrea, and Super Dixon, and good evening, my Kizomba family. My name's Sonia. I think many of you know me. I'm an experienced dancer of 12 years or more, and I'm enjoying being a panel member on Let's Talk Kizomba.
Thank you, Sonia. Very understated introduction. And we are now going to welcome her partner in crime and fellow panel member, Pechonia Coleman. Pechonia, how are you? Good evening.
I'm well. Hi, everybody. Hi, Andrea, Super Dixon, Garia, and yes, my partner in crime, for want of this description, Sonia. Yes, I too have been, having been a salsa dancer and still am, into Kizomba about the same length of time, 12, 13 years. Love it to death. But have been dancing most of my life, but Kizomba has gripped me, and there we are. That's my background.
Thank you, Petronia. And we'll go back to our host, Andrea Fitzpatrick. Andrea, would you like to just tell us about yourself? Tell the listeners, the viewers, about the many things you do for the Kizomba community.
Thanks, Gary, and hi, everybody. My name's Andrea. Many of you know me as a teacher, a dancer, and I run my own night, Nzinga Nights, in Camberwell. We've just moved to a new venue, and we're really excited about that. That's on the first Friday of every month. So we're here tonight to share our stories about how we came into Kizomba, and then also why we've stayed. Because I know some people come, some people go, some people don't like it, some people fall in love with it and just stay forever. So, who'd like to start their story? Shall I start with my story? I'm a long-time salsa dancer. I started with, and forgive me, may I be struck down, crossbody. Um, then I discovered Cuban salsa, and that's, if I have to dance salsa, it's Cuban. And I have attended El Grande uh, for years. I used to go when it was in Vauxhall at the Coliseum. I'm sure many people remember it there. And I'd gone to the Louvre, and I came out and I turned left instead of turning right. And I heard this music that just grabbed at my heartstrings, and I felt like I'd come home. So I started there. I started going to lessons there, and then everywhere I could go, I was dancing kizomba. I was known as the mad lady who would drive hours to go to lessons. I'd go to Birmingham. I'd go anywhere that there was a lesson, and especially because I live on the south coast, so I was travelling up to London maybe 2, 3 times a week, maybe more if there was a good event on. Um, and I've stayed, and that's the start of my story. So we'll get into more of that a bit later on.
Andrea, that's interesting. So before we move to the others, um, you said you turned left instead of right.
Yep.
What was your initial feeling when you did that? What was you saying? Oh, I just turned the wrong way. Let me go back, or were you more thinking, "Oh, what's going on here? Let's have a look."
I couldn't leave the room. I could. The music had me. It just grabbed me and held me there, and I just stood there wide-eyed, thinking, "Why haven't I found this music before? Where's it come from? What is it? I need to find out more about it." Because we'd all heard rumours of the Kizomba room, um, and it wasn't necessarily a place you went unchaperoned. But yeah, no, I couldn't leave, and obviously I had to leave eventually to go and find my friends, but my lift home. But no, I had to find out more about it. So yeah,
Okay, for the listeners and viewers, um, as Andrea said, it just grips you. So what the show is about, we're really trying to um, engage with you, the listener, the viewer, to understand why you love Kizomba. Initially, we starting with how we got into it, and then we'll be moving on into your initial first kind of open-eyed reactions, and then moving into what kept you going back, and then what kept you staying, and then of course we're looking at, are you going to be staying? Is the future bright or is it not? So guys, get your stories ready, get your comments ready. We're live. We want to respond to your comments. We want to engage with you and listen to your concerns for the later part of the subject. And also, we want to respond to your experiences in the new world of Kizomba as it would have been when you first started. So we'll go over to our co-host Super Dixon. Super Dixon, being a palop, I'm sure you're going to tell us you been dancing in Kizomba or loving it from you had a bottle in your mouth. So yeah, go ahead, Super Dixon. I know it's going to be a bit of a story here because obviously your family background will lend itself to Kizomba. How did you first let it grip you? Was it forced upon you? Was it just a natural thing? Or did you just like it and you just thought, you know what, I'll take this a bit further?
Right. Good evening, everyone. Um, if you guys see me on the phone, just be sure I'm just making sure everybody knows. I'm literally sharing the live streams in every social media so that everybody can join the show. Okay, so I'm trying to do that. If you are listening right now, please help us share the show, subscribe the show, and don't forget about that. Okay, let's go with the show on the road. So, my brother, yeah, the big difference is in my situation. I come from a family from Mozambique. So in Mozambique, again, people have the preconception that we don't dance kizomba, and that we only dance marabenta or panza, right? And when you grow up, and a lot of people don't know that kizomba or pasada, it's everybody's is every palop's dance, right? But still growing up, for me, when you're mixed race like me, you white father, white mother, white friends, it's not quite the dance that you're gonna be. Let's say it's your grandma's dance, so that's not something that you want to do. Make sense? But because when you are young and you have Angolan neighbors up top of your house every Sunday, bashing music, their own music as always with good food, we're never gonna say no to music. So my mom would take me to these parties, and obviously, once the young kid is there, the aunties want to dance, and you're the best victim. Uh, and I'm not gonna lie, for me, it's one of the things that we all say. For me, it was a bit painful because it's not something that I wanted to do, and not something that my mom could save me either. Auntie wants to dance or you die. So for me, it was tricky, but it's one of those things that when you look back today, you say thank you very much to the aunties that infused the little bits of knowledge in the dance, because that carries with you, especially when you reach to a older age, if it makes sense. But still, for me, growing up, obviously you always listen, but I would not be listening in my house. I was listening to hip hop, R&B. I was trying to listen to other type of music, if it makes sense. And the reason why I got to Kizomba is because I wanted to go. I was invited to go to hip hop parties. There's only one catch that nobody explained is that in this hip hop parties, hip hop R&B parties, there's a DJ switch, or it's not even the DJ switch. The DJ would switch the music to Kizomba. So this was the environment. Again, I find myself in a Palop event with a lot of people, house party. And when I say house party, it's not club. It's not a club. This is a urban. It's an unsanctioned party in someone else's house with food, drinks, good vibes. And when you hit puberty, and Kizomba or Tarashin or the Zouk, Cabo Zouk, it wasn't Semba, I can tell you right now. Starts to play, and a girl, asks you, do you dance Kizomba? And all my friends would say, yeah, you said you don't dance that. That S-H-I-T. I said, I don't dance that. And then they'll say to me, oh, you're going to say no. And I'm like, I'm looking to the girl. I'm looking to the music. I'm looking to the girl. I'm looking to the music. And I can bust a move or two. And that's when all the knowledge that you learn in all your life, it suddenly pops up. And from then on, it started to grow that willingness to want to dance. But it's only when I go to university that I'm away from home. I have no friends to make fun of me. I get to do, and I actually had more African friends in my university class, and they all knew about Kizomba. I had the Angolan token as well. And obviously, we ended up in a Kizomba party with live band and all that. And from then on, I think I was 21. From then on, it was, it's like you go home, you listen to the music, you practice. I started to see how the Cape Verdeans dance. I got addicted to their pasada. So every day I'm going home, dancing with the broom, listening to the beats, and the rest, here I am. coming to the UK, I just thought I never wanted to be a dance instructor ever. But I come to the UK and I'm like, so where we can we dance kizomba here? And I was like, there's no such thing here. I was like, what? Oh, there's a Cuban guy who does salsa nights and sometimes he plays kizomba. And I'm okay. And that's the story of Super Dixon had to create. Super Dixon had to start to do kizomba or to learn how to teach kizomba, learn how to DJ, so I can just dance kizomba. And this is it. From then on, fast forward 14 years, here I am. Crazy, right?
Super Dixon, tell me something. So this is something I'm guessing is a natural thing amongst youngsters. So when you were with your peers, it was more like, yeah, let's do this hip hop thing, and the more trendy type of. Did you see? We often laugh about it. Did you see Kizomba as like something your uncle would do, rather than, oh, we could be doing this? Was it definitely not trendy when you were a teenager?
For me, it wasn't trendy because again, that's why I must I'm always reminding people that if you're in a Angolan house, it's Semba you're gonna listen to and Kuduro. Straight.
Correct.
Semba,
Correct.
Kuduro. So Kizomba doesn't exist here.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
If you go to someone from Cape Verde's house, it's Funana, Kabuzuk. It was different music. Cape Verdean, Coladeira, all different sorts of music. Do you know what I mean? But I only got contact with Cape Verdean music proper and dance when I went to uni. But growing up since young age, it's samba. And samba, you listen to that when you're a kid, that's noise. And for the fact that you have to dance with the auntie, it's even more noise. So it's not something that you'd like. I must say though that I remember the first time I heard Kasav. I think I was 7 years old, something like that. I don't remember very well around that. And Kasav actually was like, and that kind of gave me a bit more umph, you know. But it's still, I was driven by my cousins, my older cousins, listening to hip hop with my male cousin, R&B with my female cousin, and I was just like, yeah, this is what's up. This is what's cool, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think
And I
this is a
must say,
problem. I think this is a problem
and I
because
must, yeah,
Dixon
go
is a
on,
problem, right? Youngsters, we're trying to bring youngsters through, and
yeah.
I think this is an issue here where to them it's older people's music. So I think that's kind of the feeling, and you're kind of emphasizing that, well, yeah. And to add to that, just before you carry on, the problem is we must remember, obviously, it's not just about Kizomba. We've got the other genres under the umbrella, the Semba, which most people back in the day would have been listening to rather than Kizomba. So we must take that into account when we're talking about this. Even if the title says Kizomba, we have to understand maybe back in those early days where it was more Semba for the Angolans, it was maybe not attractive to a certain point. Anyway, so yeah,
I just want to be clear again. I think it's a bit. I need to be direct when I say this, and because I'm always very clear when I want to make sure people understand. Kizomba, the word Kizomba, it was a word that was strictly for Angolans, used by Angolans, not by anyone else. No one else would call what you call Kizomba today or Kizomba party. Nobody else addressed Kizomba like we addressed today. That's something that came a bit later in time, if I may say so.
yeah, and that's true.
Okay.
Right, guys,
But because
that is very
the most music that was popping as well, in common with all the palops, was Zouk music. Zouk from the Caribbean, not that Brazilian.
yeah, yeah.
I'm not gonna say bad things.
No, no, no. Keep it clean. But I'll
Yeah.
make you right about the Zook. I'll make you right. So guys, look, this is coming from Dixon himself, a Palop. He's generally saying around the time of teenage R&B, hip hop, you know, Petronia. It's important that we understand it's looking like, and I feel that now, it's an older people's dance. So with that in mind, how did you get into Kizomba?
I hear what you're saying about it being an older person's dance. Because I came into it, I was in my 40s, I suppose. And having had a background of dance, I was a trained dancer. I danced modern dance, Caribbean dance, bit of ballet and tap, but that was 100 years ago when I was younger. So I was always into dance. And as I was growing up, it was R&B and soul and very much reggae, lovers rock, the Caribbean type of dancing. So coming into salsa really brought me into my roots of dance from a different country, but still involved the kind of ethnic type dancing, a different genre that I was drawn to. Loved all of that. And it was still very fast, but I was going through a divorce and I was a grown woman. So I didn't have the younger background knowledge that I didn't come through it as Super Dixon did, for example, where you had it from childhood. Though I had been a dancer all my life and I loved dance, I loved music, I loved all sorts of genres, but I particularly loved salsa. And I liked what I thought at the time was an African flavor, which would have been a bit of reggae. And I didn't know about Kizomba as such, but I loved that type of genre, that sort of crossover. And I'd been doing salsa for a long time, loved the music. And it was a friend of mine who doesn't do much Kizomba at the moment, who said to me, he said, "Oh, you'll love this music, Kizomba, you'll love it. Come along with me, you'll love it." And I went along, and as Andrea had said, it just blew me away. I absolutely adored the music because it was as if that's what I was waiting for. You know, I like salsa. It's very the music is lovely, but maybe it's I don't know, the Afro beats, the African flavor, which lent itself to a reggae background that I really liked. I struggle though with the dancing. I love the music, but I was very wary of the closeness of the dancing initially. But I carried on. I persevered. I pushed through. It's like learning to smoke. I thought, let me go along with that because the music was so compelling. And I thought I would move about to it, but you have to learn the dance to really fully appreciate it. And so I got that real connection. That took, for me, a good year, but it was the music that was pulling me through. I could listen to the music forever. But I thought, how am I going to engage with that music? And that was going to be through dance. So yes, I found that as a grown woman, because I'd had all these other types of music and dancing that I really enjoyed. And this was just an extension of it. But it's come to not a standstill. I'm at a point where this is where I really want to be. I found that with salsa, yes, but I found it even more with Kizomba. Kizomba it's funny. It's sort of like coming home. It's like all of the types of music and the genres that I like, all culminating in one type of music, if that makes sense. And that's why I keep coming back to it. It might be because I'm come from a reggae and a music that's got a heavy bass and all of that sort of thing. And so I can relate to it. But that's what keeps me going because I'm a lover of that kind of music and have been all my life. And having been a grown person, that drew me to it. It may have been different if I was younger, but it wasn't available. I think I came into it at the right time for me personally. So that's me.
Yep. Especially after your divorce. So, you know, there's been no problems there.
Time to come out. Yep. Yep. Time to get out.
We'll go to Sonia. Sonia's been waiting. Sonia, sorry, Super Dixon took your time, so get involved. Come on, let's talk. I think you might be on.
Yeah. Yes, I've always been around music. Music has always been part of my life. My parents used to always play music. We always had house parties from a reggae background. And so I've always loved music, particularly reggae. And when I first came across Kizomba, I was actually in a salsa club. I've been dancing salsa for about 15 years now, maybe more. And it was the DJ used to play some Kizomba tracks, and there was this particular couple, I think they were from Southend, and they used to dance Kizomba. And although I loved the look of the dance, I couldn't wait for it to be over. And I'd think, oh no, that's too intimate. I don't want to dance that, which was very hypocritical of me, because I used to go to shubeens, reggae clubs, and dance with total strangers and not think anything of it. And I got the opportunity to try the dance when I think his name was Jesse, was leafleting outside the Langthorns in Stratford. He said, come along to SIBO's. And I did. And I think I've already mentioned, it just came naturally to me, and I got moved up after about 2 lessons. And not that I've given up salsa, but I think my love for Kizomba has overtaken my love for salsa. And it's just the music, the culture. I just don't know what else to say. I just love it. I just love it. It does speak to me. It does get me right here, some tracks. I was actually dancing with someone very recently, and I think it was Minero played this track. Never heard it before. And I said to the guy that I was dancing with, my God, he said, this one is speaking to me. It's like my ancestors are talking to me. It just got me that much. And I think I'll always love Kizomba. Yeah. Yeah, so that's
Sonia, it's very touching, and I feel like with everyone, it grips them. You know, it really grips them, and I come into it very randomly. Also, I don't know if I really want to go into the story again, but essentially, I was in a hotel in Madrid, and around 2011, 2012, I heard this music, and I just loved this music. I had no idea what it was, and went into the room, and I was like, "Oh my God!" I don't know if I should have been in there, to be honest, but I somehow got in there with a couple of friends, and it was just like, "What is this? This is I can't put a tag on it. I don't know what it is. It must have been Ghetto Zoot because the bass and everything resonated with me, and I was like, wow." And then a lady asked me to dance, and I said, no, I don't know how to dance this. I don't know what's going on. And she said, yes, you can dance. And I said, no. And she pulled me in, and I had a bit of a kind of Tarashina style dance, which was more natural to me. And I was like, oh, I like this. But as I said, I didn't pursue it. I just kind of forgot about it because I was doing other things at the time. And I met Francis, who some of you guys will know from the early SIBO's days, and he used to play football in the same team. And he said, "Look, come along, Kizomba." I said, "What's Kizomba?" And he said, you must know." I said, "Nah, what's Kizomba?" And then the next week he showed me a video, and I said, "Oh, I went to this place a few months ago." And he said, "Yeah." That was around 2011, 2012. And he said to me, "Come." And I was like, ah. And he said, "Yeah, there's loads of girls, everything you'd want." And I was just like, I loved it, but I was doing other things. So that's how I got into it. And then when I was ready to come back, 2012, end of 2012, I was just gripped. I was also in a salsa club, and I heard it, and I was like, that's what I heard before, straight in the room. And that was it. I didn't turn back. So I think a lot of us came from salsa. Obviously, Super Dixon grew up in the system, so it's a bit different. But yeah, it's very interesting. Came from salsa, and it's gripped all of us. But we'd like to hear from other people who might not be from the Caribbean, because coming from the Caribbean does give you kind of a head start, especially with the type of rhythms that we're used to. So in the chat, guys, tell us your stories and how you got into Kizomba. Very interesting so far. What I'd like to say next is, after your first experience, what was the next step? Can we keep it brief, not too long? Quickly, Andrea. So you walked into the room, you turned left, you experienced it, you told your mates. What was your next step? To investigate, or to visit another salsa club and then try to go in the room again? In brief, what was your next step?
Well, just first of all, I want to clarify, I'm not from a Caribbean
No,
background.
no. I didn't say you. I said some
No,
of us are from the
I'm
Caribbean.
just clarifying, Gary, if that's okay. Um, because this is a conversation that I've had with a few teachers out there who say, oh, if you're not brought up with this music, you're not going to get it. And I said, well, I was raised on Tom Jones and Petula Clark, because I was raised in a white family. So dancing was totally alien to my upbringing. I think the only dancing we did was country dancing at school, or maybe the odd Gay Gordon. So after, I just wanted to clarify that my DNA may be African and Angolan, but I'm not. That's not my upbringing. Um, so after I'd been to El Grande, obviously the next time I went to El Grande, because it was monthly back then, I went back in the room, had a look. I met some people, had a chat with some of the ladies that were there, found out where they went for their lessons, who their teachers were, and I was really lucky that my teachers and instructors that I had at the beginning were people who had literally come from either Lisbon or from one of the PALOP countries, during the revolution and what have you. So the dance meant a lot to them. Tanya Mandonka, Rikita, people like that who had the real passion for Kizomba. And I just went to every Kizomba class that I could find, sort of fairly south, and Iris de Brito, people like that who had a real passion. And I think that was the what I needed, was they were sharing their stories of when they were back home, mainly in Angola, because that was the particular teachers that I met. And Julia said it's the connection, absolutely the connection that you get from Kizomba, but it's not just the connection with the partner. To me, it's like Sonia said, the connection with the music. It was like exactly as Sonia said. I walked into the room and I said, "I've come home." It was like my ancestors were speaking to me. It was as if that I was meant to turn left instead of right. It was something that I was meant to find, and so I went to every class I could find. Like I say, I was out maybe 4 or 5 nights a week. Goodness knows how many miles I've travelled over the years.
So Andrea, before you went to these
Every
classes,
single week.
before you went to these classes, did you check on the internet? What is Kizomba? What is this Kizomba? Or did you literally wait till the next El Grande and then, like as you said, go in the room and find out?
I probably searched Facebook, to be fair, to
Yeah.
find Kizomba classes, and yeah, everything seemed to be in London. There was nothing. I'm on the south coast, near Portsmouth, so there was nowhere. We were really lucky though, because I knew Tanya. She agreed to come down once a week, once a fortnight, maybe, to do classes at the Cuban salsa classes that I was going to. And again, that just ignited my passion for this dance. And to listen to her speak, to listen to people like Rikita Alta speak with the passion of how they came to the dance, how they brought it to the, to Lisbon, and then obviously started teaching it in the UK. So yeah.
Okay.
I think, yeah. So I'm reading some of the comments are really lovely that are coming
Yeah, I
in.
think I was just looking myself. It's popping off in the chat room. So guys, keep it coming. What we want to do is just talk to our hosts again and the panel to quickly go, as I said, in brief, guys. So Dixon, we will come back to you because we know you grew up in a system. Petronia, what was your second step once you came across it? Keep it brief. So let's say you were in a sales place and you come across it. What was your next step? Was it to go and research online, or did you just wait till you went to another salsa night and then you thought, right, I'm going to go in the room and speak to some people? Can you quickly tell us what your second step was?
Is that me? Yeah.
Yes.
I really liked the music when I heard it, a bit like Andrea. I don't know if I'd sidestepped. I went with a friend who said, come along and listen to this, you'll love it. And he was so convinced, I'm a dancer, you'll really love the music. I guarantee you'll fall in love with it. And he really was promoting it as a passion and the music that I would be passionate about it. So I went along to have a look. I remembered it being South London when I did finally start lessons, but at that time it was SIBO's, for example, I went to, and I was actually a bit too wary of actually doing the dance. I remembered going to the first time I actually did the actual dancing, I was at one of the salsa festivals. I think it was Torquay. And my very first taste of Kizomba was Miguel Montero. And he actually said, and so many of us at that time, was donkeys years ago, it's got to be 15, 18 years ago. And he sort of said, there's this dance I'd like to show you all. And he led everybody to try this dance. And it was because it was partner hold. So practically everybody in that room wouldn't dance partner hold. They were all very wary. Whilst we all loved the music, we were all very wary about touching each other. Absolutely like that, Dixon. And he was trying to encourage everyone to sort of, melt with it, just move a bit, chest to chest, even if you didn't want to be cheek to cheek. And
English distance, idea.
Keep your distance, and we did keep our distance, but the music drew me back so much. Yes, exactly. That was my particular prejudice. Though I love the music, I was very wary of being so close. And so that had to grow on me because the music pulled me in so much. I then had to find lessons. And I was south of the river and discovered, like Andrea, I would maybe go online. Where could I go for classes? And what I actually did, which I didn't know was going to be that way, I set up what I thought would be a group on Facebook. It's Salsa and Kizomba Friends and News, thinking it would be a place for people to let me know what was going on. And didn't realize that it was normally the other way around. It would be promoters who would set up these groups to promote their stuff. And then people started wanting to come to the group, and then I would be able to find out where to go and do lessons via that format. So it blew up from there. And I discovered Rico Suave, and we would go down to do dancing at the Banana Bar, which he'll remember if he's ever listening, in Camberwell. And that was where I would go. I tried to keep it quite local because, unlike Andrea, I wasn't able to travel all over the place. So I limited it at that time to just one or two teachers. Someone must have told me about going across the river. Oh my gosh, going through the Blackwall Tunnel, the river, to go and dance. Oh wow, it was just like a step beyond, but I persevered. And that's where I met Sonia with the fullness of time at SIBO's, and had lessons with Denise and Francis, as you said, Gario. And that was my outlet. I would be south of the river at Rico's, at Banana Bar, or at SIBO's through the river in Leytonstone. And those were the two places I would go to. So it took me a while to branch out to different places, but that seemed to be sort of enough for me. I was getting my cultural fix of this music, which was drawing me in. So that was my next step, and it continued from there, where I sort of had to pluck up the courage to go to different places. The music kept drawing me in, but where can I now go where I would feel, I suppose, secure doing it? It sounds strange that I was a little bit fearful of it. It was almost like I was being a bit naughty, but there you go. I persevered, and here we are, 12 odd years later.
Sonia, come to the stage. We're going to ask you the same question. Keep it brief because I really want to go to the comments. We're ready. We've got Izzy O'Hark in the building. Mr. Izzy, good evening. So we're talking about SIBOs, Izzy. So, yeah. Sonia, in brief.
We also have our panelist is also there. Foxy. There as well. Yeah,
we've got a lot of comments from a lot of people that are in the hierarchy. So, Sonia, briefly.
I hope from what I've said so far that unlike everybody else on the panel, I wasn't grabbed by Kizomba straight away. I was a bit, that's too intimate for me. But once I had the opportunity to go to SIBOs on Jezzy's invite, I think I've been really lucky because everything that I wanted to do, all the lessons, all the teachers were my side of the river, only 15 minutes down the road. So I started off with Jezzy, then Denise, then Francis and Adriana. All of those top teachers were in my local vicinity. So I consider myself to be really, really lucky. And along the way, I've met some great people. I mean, Petronio and I are best buddies, and I've met some other really lovely people as well.
It's great, and I hope you are best buddies after the show because I feel there might be a bit of conflict later. Anyway, we're going to go to the comments.
Whip up.
We're going to go to the comments. Hopefully, Andrew can share some of them on the screen. Evening, Foxy. Emma, good evening. Anna, good evening. Guys, there's loads of comments. Right, let's start. Julia, she says, I love the connection in Kizomba, but moments when I feel in sync with my partner and the music is amazing. Thank you, Julia. Anderson Costa, hello, Anderson. One of the big names here is in the room. As an Angolan, seeing how much Kizomba has impacted people's lives is a reason of joy. I'll have to agree with that. And, for you guys, for the Angolans, you must feel proud, And he says, I do resonate with Dixon too. Remember quite well running away from the parties whenever I saw the aunties gathering people to dance. Yes, it's a common theme there, Anderson. And he says, coming to the UK to study, it was a way to connect back to the culture and remember the people back home. Thank you, Anderson. Wise words from an Angolan there. Foxy's coming to the room. He said, I came via reggae as an MC, and he started in 2012 like myself, and like Andrew, accidentally found myself in El Grande Vauxhall. Been hooked ever since. What drew me was the music, women asking men to dance. Seriously, wasn't used to it. Having multicultural attendance was also new and welcoming for me. Now most of my key friends are from the Kizomba arena, and they become family to me. Kizomba has also enabled me to feel the link to the motherland, Africa, more than I ever felt before. That's true. It resonates with a lot of us, Foxy. Anna, one of my lovely friends, Anna, dancing for me is a passion. I love to dance pretty much everything. And in Portugal, I have started to go to clubs at 12 years old, to the afternoon matinees with fake IDs. This is what Kizomba does. It makes you break the rules. But Kizomba got into my life in my late 20s. So, yeah, she started off, had a gap, and then came back. KB, whoever you are, good evening. I hadn't heard of Kizomba at all, but ended up at a class by chance when it was done together with salsa and bachata. I found the music and the dance so natural and easygoing. I loved it. It's true, KB. Welcome to the show, by the way. Foxy again. Kizomba for me breaks down race and age barriers. I've never leave or stop Thank you, Foxy, one of our panel members. I don't know if it breaks down the age barriers. Some women, older women, might disagree with you, Foxy, there. Georgia, good evening. Hello to you. Julia, she says, as most people here through salsa, she's come for it through, come to Kizomba through salsa. I did a taster session, stayed for the social, and lost myself in the music and the dance. And since then, I try to dance several times a week, as often as I can. Yes, I met Julia personally. I met Julia at one of the events, and she started out, and she's already progressed very well. So keep it going, Julia. Anna, she says, I couldn't handle a full night of Kizomba as I was mixing and changing clubs during the weekend. Never did a class in Portugal, just learn how to follow on the dance floor. Sometimes it's the best way. Just follow your partner. Thank you, Anna, who's Portuguese. Evening again, Izzy. Let's hear some of your comments, please. Anna, she says, later in the UK, started to attend some classes to drag my ex-partner who was DJing for a hobby but couldn't dance yet. So a lot of people do try to drag their friends and family and partners and get them to do classes, then end up doing classes themselves. Izzy, oh my God, all the complaints at the start we got about Petronia. I'm guessing this is back in the SIBO's days. Izzy, can you tell us a bit more about that? Anna,
It's not true.
and that if you know me, you know what I can't stop dancing. Everyone's saying the same thing. You know, they can't leave this dance. It grips you. Evening, Kathleen. Yeah, so again, the comments there shows you that everyone loves Kizomba. They're getting gripped. And we must stipulate here, it's not just Kizomba. There's other genres under the umbrella, as we know. You know, Dixon has mentioned a few. I mean, I don't know about anyone else. For me, it was the Ghetto Zouk. It was just like, what? This is like the Caribbean. This is it. For me, that mix of rhythms and bass and everything, it was what gripped me. So we mustn't just keep it to Kizomba. You know, the other Palop nations, they're going to say, what about their part of it? And so, but we're using Kizomba as a broader term. Izzy, remember how you started? Tell us how you started. And he's saying, hey guys, hope you're all okay. I was in salsa, then did some bachata. Just like me, Izzy, it's true. But it's only when at Salsa Club I heard about Kizomba music. You know, he heard the music, he was there. He said that was the start of the adventure, not easy. Many walls, but I just persisted. So Izzy's there. He's done salsa bachata. He's heard the music. He said, let me try it. He's overcome some probably negative experiences, and now he's dancing. Now he's an organizer of one of the biggest events in London, and you know he was part of the SIBO's story. So that's where he's come from, salsa and bachata. And Georgia, she said, Ghetto Zouk for me too. For me, I'll say it, don't shoot me. Georgia's saying it too. Thank you, Georgia. Again, we come back to the panel. Ladies, what have you got to say about the comments? Keep it quick because we're going to move on. We're due for a song in about 7 minutes, so please keep it brief. What's your experience?
Can I just say what you said in response to Winston? And Winston, when you read out Winston's comment, that for him it broke down barriers. He felt it broke down barriers, all ages and races. And you said you weren't sure. I have to agree with Winston. I think it is something that a kind of type of music kind of scene that breaks down lots of barriers. I have felt that I've made so many friends, more than in salsa, through Kizomba. They're like an extended family, and they're all different ages. Yes, I'll be with people of my age, yeah, but I've made and have continued to be in touch with people who are, I'd say, 10, 15 years younger than I am. I don't feel a barrier at all. The music and the familiarity of it has brought me and the people I know together in a way that salsa didn't necessarily do so. Do love salsa and always will, but Kizomba has that type of bringing together a family, for me anyway, and so it's broken down all sorts of barriers to me. So I would just say I'd have to disagree with you on that. I found it quite an opener and continue to do so.
I think that's out of order to disagree with me. What I'd say, Petronia, what I would say, we have many ladies of a little bit of an older age complain about not getting dances, not, so breaking down that barrier in a sense of welcoming people of all ages into the environment, into the community, into the, all these kind of things. But I think the sticking point, which is the main point of why you go, many miss out on dances, and we'll give Sonia a chance and Andrew a chance to verify this. Some miss out simply because they're a little bit older than the others. So you may disagree with me. I think you're wrong to disagree with me, but I'm not totally putting Winston's comment out. I'm just saying there might be part of that which causes concern for the senior ladies on the community. Sonia, come to the stage and
Yeah,
save me,
yeah,
maybe.
I'm not sure that I can agree either, because being of seniority myself, I don't find that I miss out on dances. Maybe it's because I look so young. People don't know how old I am.
Blacks don't crack. Blacks don't crack.
Yeah. I just want to just add to what Petroni said about not having made the same connections in salsa as you have done in Kizomba, because I think I've danced salsa for as long as I've danced Kizomba, but I haven't felt the desire or inclination to go to as many festivals, salsa festivals, as I have done so with Kizomba. And it's been a real eye-opener for me to go practically all over the world dancing Kizomba, which is something that it never occurred to me to do with salsa. And Petronia and Novlet, Patricia, she's listening. They've all sort of enjoyed that adventure with me in various different countries. And it's been great, absolutely great. I don't think I would have visited half the number of countries that I have done had it not been for Kizomba.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I'm just putting it out there for one of our future shows. Are the seniors totally accepted in a sense of getting their fair share of dances? It's something we will talk about. And now I just want to quickly ask Andrea before we have our first song. Andrea, do you believe a little bit of that, what I'm saying?
When I started salsa years ago, I was told by a teacher that men dance with their eyes. Not sure. They'll ask the women they fancy to dance, and I'm lucky. I've been in the scene long enough that I know a lot of people, and a lot of guys are so generous, and they'll come and they'll dance with me. Not you, Gario, obviously, because you never asked me.
I,
You don't, Gario. That's the truth. You don't dance with me. Um, I think that yes, I think that there is. Oh, I don't like the word senior. I think you've got to find another word, Gario. But I do think
I agree with you. I agree with you.
there's maybe a certain age group of ladies who maybe don't get asked to dance, and I think that that's really. I mean, the guys are missing out. That's my thought. Is that the guys are missing out if they don't ask. They um, everybody actually, I think that the ladies who maybe are older dance better than the younger girls because we really enjoy the dance. We put the energy into learning to dance. But I think that's the whole show around not just, and it's not just the older women, it's the older men as well, or the men who maybe don't look fabulous or what other people want, who miss out on getting the dances. There's a lot of guys and beginners as well who don't get asked to dance, and that's what Kizomba's meant to be about. It's meant to be about family. It's meant to be about that connection. And I'll dance with anybody who asks me, unless they're really drunk.
Well, it's a common theme we know about. As you said, people dance with their eyes, and it's not only age; it's look. If they're not of a certain look, they could be left out. But what we got to do now, we got to go to a song. Time's cracking on. We've got more comments. We've got Super Dixon coming just after the song break. So, guys, stay with us. We'll be back in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. Put in some more comments. Tell your friends about the show. Invite them on. Send them the link. And we will be back with you in 2 minutes. Over to you, Andrea, for a lovely song.
Thank you.
Hoje as minhas ações vão falar, e através delas eu vou te mostrar o quanto eu te amo, o quanto eu te quero. Preparei um jantar especial do jeito que tu gostas, tu gostas. Rosas jogadas no chão, vamos celebrar o amor, oh paixão. Eu quero que tu saibas, meu amor és tu, só tu. Por ti eu faço tudo, meu amor és tu, só tu. Por ti eu faço tudo, eu faço tudo. Arrumada, perfumada, linda, sexy para o meu amor. E o que quiseres, o que disseres, eu faço, teu desejo é meu comando. Preparei um jantar especial do jeito que tu gostas, tu gostas. Rosas jogadas no chão, vamos celebrar o amor.
Hello and welcome back. I think Dixon
Yes.
wanted to come in.
Super Dixon. You've heard the comments, Super
Yeah,
Dixon.
I'm here.
You've heard the
show
argument.
is a good flow. It's going with a good flow. The comments are flying on Facebook and on YouTube. One more time, don't forget to subscribe. Come and join us. Share. I've been listening to everything as always, and I just wanted to say I wanted to jump in when you guys were talking about age. There was something I said in the beginning, which is where I think it might be a bit like this is a language barrier somehow here, not from my side, from the most of the people's side. Please note what I said. I grew up with in Angolan setting and listening to the music, food, and all that. And when I said the aunties, please note that I am a little 7-year-old toddler. Yeah. So Kizomba or whatever environment of Kizomba parties there is, the power of Kizomba, like Andrea said, like everyone said, is the family. So we have different ages coming together. Do you know what I mean? And when I'm a teenager, when I'm starting to actually venture more, away from home, going into the Kizomba parties, one of the things that is the classes Kizomba is actually everybody is in the building. Do you know one of the things that used to happen a lot is when the shkotash, the older senior dancers, they walk into the Kizomba event, everybody is saluting because they know that these old cats, they can dance better than anyone. In fact, most of the times when we are dancing, we're checking the kota. The kota doesn't move. We copy. We look at him doing, and we start copying him. That was the thing. That's why it's like coming to the UK. One of the things I've noticed that it was really, really weird, and I'm talking about this is going about ethnography here. One of the things I noticed really weird in the UK is that when I used to go to a club, I used to go to a club that was 21 plus, and you wouldn't see any kids there still. And then you walk into a different club like Revolution, you wouldn't see many old people. You would see more younger people. And then I was like, what's wrong with these people? They don't mix. And I was like, yeah, we don't mix. We party in different places. Like, okay. Because even in Portuguese culture, everybody parties together. But when it comes to English, British culture, it's like the youngs on one place, the old people in one place. And Kizomba, one of the things that Kizomba brings that salsa, and I must say bachata didn't bring back then, is because I also found out that in the UK, only the older crowd, and when I say older crowd, I can go from working class 25 up, all the way up, all the way up. It's more older people that dance. And Kizomba becomes a conundrum here, a paradox, because everybody, oh, I'm not sure. Oh, dear. Oh, there's too many youngsters here. Oh, there's too many aunties here or uncles. What's going on? And this is when we instructors have to explain, what is your problem? This is a us. This is for everybody. So that's when, imagine, I'm teaching in university in Plymouth. So I used to tell my young ones, which I used to teach from 18 to 25, and odd older person in the class, I used to tell my students, males and females, I said, especially the boys, when you go to the party and you see it in a party, you make sure you dance like the etiquette. You dance with all the ladies. If I hear that an older lady said that you didn't dance with them, I will clap you. And this type of uncle threat, I wasn't an uncle back then. Come on, 14 years ago now. But I usually make sure they understand this. And one of the things the best compliment I have always had from the salsa community is, oh my God, your students are so nice. I didn't felt awkward to dance with them. So Kizomba is not an age thing. Napa quoi. No, no, no. No, no, no. It's a everybody thing. But when we start the commercialization of Kizomba, that's when the problem begins. That's when the problem begins. But I want to finish this just by saying like you said, Gario, the reason let's say in my teenage days, when I'm going to Kizomba, hip hop, R&B, and I'm starting to listen to the ghetto zouks, to the French zouk, to the compa, and the terrachinha, I was like, now you got my attention. I'm happy to join your ranks anytime. As long as I'm not dancing my grandma's music, I'm good.
Yep.
But
And that
I would never let my ancestors badly or back for not dancing samba. That was my 20 cents for the minute. Welcome back to the show.
that's very interesting, Dixon, and that's a wonderful ending. You appreciate the Ghetto Zoot guys. Again, more comments. We'll just
I
go
grew
to
up
the
on
comments
Ghetto
that have
Zouk,
been.
bro.
Yep. See the promotion
And
of
I'm
Ghetto
not going
Zoot
to lie,
guys. I'm
Cape Verdean
liking it.
music, bro, Cape Verdean music is part of the reason why we dance Kizomba. But we can go further. in this conversation later. Stay tuned.
Yeah, the promotion of Get a Zook. We love it. KB, we don't know who KB is, but again, KB, it makes KB feel at home. You don't need to grow up with it to get that feeling. That's true for some of us who didn't grow up with it. Evening, Nigel Charlemagne, one of the old school
Yes,
dancers
old
from the
school
famous family.
Charlemagne in the building. Pow, 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 pow.
We've got Foxy again. He's saying that, we're right under the Kizomba umbrella. His vice is Semba. So no, Foxy's a Semba dancer. He loves Semba. He's now performing as well, guys. Don't forget Foxy's performing. So next time he's on, give him a knock on the comments. He said, followed by Kizomba. I prefer the faster style rather than the slow Terashino or Ghetto Zouk, albeit that changed the more I got into dance. And as Winston gets older, he will soon change his tune, no doubt. He will start saying, that's Semba now. Okay. Kathleen, the lovely Kathleen saying, definitely extended family, although some people have made comments about age. And that's what I tried to say. Everyone's welcome, everyone's loved. We respect, we salute, as Super Dixon said, as they walk in, the Rivens of this world, they walk in and you salute, and David Dow when we salute, but sometimes age issues are raised. Yeah. So we got some of these comments coming in, and Winston Fox again. The age barrier is generalized in soul and R&B, etc. Where do you see an older guy or woman dancing with a youngster? In Kizomba, you do, and guys and women dancing with each other without people turning up their nose. Do that in reggae, and you're dead. Yeah, that's one for a discussion, Mr. Fox. I get most of you, but I think,
Let
maybe
this
Dixon and
battle
I will have a little
begin.
chat. Okay, so guys, right, let's carry on. Let's look into the next section of the show. So I want to ask the panel and the hosts. You've discovered Kizomba. You've made your first investigations, whether that might be on the internet. You'll have a look at, you know, I also remember the Tentasal. I think that's how you pronounce it. Dixon Tentasal. Yeah. That song and the guy doing the steps, very basic. Did you come across something online, or did you wait till your next dance event, and decide to go in the room? So we've gone across that. Now, after this, you've gone back to the room the next week, or you've looked online. What did you guys do? Did you go to the classes? Did you go and take a class, or did you think, I don't need to, like Sonia? She went to Izzy Sebo's and Adriana Sebo's, Sonia, and after a week, she's so good that she goes into the other class. Yeah. So, what was it you guys did? Did you actually stay away from it, take a step back and say, I just want to watch what this is about? Or did you think, right, I'm going to book up some classes and I'm going to try and learn this? And I know Petronia has already kind of glossed across that, but we'll go to Andrea. Andrea, I see you, in brief, you went to El Grande the next month. You spoke to the people like Tanya and other dancers around in the weeks after that. Did you take a class straight after that, or did you step back and just watch what's going on?
No, I was desperate to get to a class. Like I say, the difficulty was that obviously not in London, and there was nothing outside of London. If you went to, I think there might have been something in Brighton. God, I used to go to Brighton, Eastbourne, travelled all over the place, but it was always a watered down version. It was never Kizomba as I'd danced it in London or I'd seen it danced in London. It was someone's interpretation of it. And again, that could be a whole show in itself. See Dixon nodding. So it was really difficult to find classes. So I think I did a couple of workshops, I think Mambo City had one up at Heathrow somewhere. And that, yes, because that's where I met Miguel. And so, yeah, so then every third Friday I was at El Grande in the Kizomba room. And then everywhere else I was searching for people. There was a Saturday night event I used to go to, and Francis was teaching there, and I met Rikita Alta there, and she talked to me in Portuguese. Said, "Oh, you must be Portuguese." I said, "No, I'm English." She couldn't believe it. So I was a bit like Sonia. I was lucky. It came very naturally to me to just dance Kizomba. It was not hard work. Then I started going to Nomads in the week and various other events that were classes that were around. So I couldn't get enough of having wherever Tanya Mendonca was, I followed her. Whether that's Birmingham, Manchester, wherever I followed, which maybe she wasn't, but no, we're great friends. So I was really lucky. I met some really good teachers. Eddie Vance was another one that I used to go to any of his classes. Didn't always agree with him, but Oxford, I think he was in Oxford at the time. He used to travel up there.
Wow, that's some distance for you. Yeah. So you went straight head first. Yeah, got to do some classes. Spoken to some of the Kizomba royalty, as we used to call them, and you got on your way. Sonia, what about you? Enter the stage.
No, even though it came really naturally to me, I continued to do the classes at CBOS, and I still do the classes today. I ventured out from CBOS only a couple of times. I think Andrea mentioned Idris. I remember doing a workshop of Idris in Holborn. I'm not sure who else. My biggest regret is not being around at the time that Eddie Vance was here. I did do a master workshop that he came over from America to do. And I think I've done a couple of things in Gillingham. We went to a couple of festivals in Gillingham, Eastbourne, and then I started venturing abroad. Yeah, so we've done.
So you went straight into the classes. Petronius said that also, So guys, look, keep your comments coming. We want to know your stories, your steps into the Kizomba world. I've got more comments. Dorothy, good evening. She's saying, well, coming from Ghana, Kizomba was not our dance. So I used to go for salsa. And she said, Dorothy's telling us she was absolutely rubbish. And it made her disinterested. And she was advised by Naomi. Who is Naomi? Tell us who she is. To go to Kizomba. She fell in love. And, basically, she's a Kizomba lover now. She comes all the time. We saw her last night. Again, Julia, she says she agrees with Andrea. She had her first amazing Kizomba dance with someone much older. And I'm so glad he asked to dance. I believe that's me. Thank you, Julia. Again, more comments are coming in. Anna is very active. Dorothy's saying, I do not refuse a dance. However, if you refuse to take care of your personal hygiene, you won't get a third. Right. So, guys, just on that note, we're talking about breaking down barriers. I think Foxy did mention that. But, guys, look, if people are dancing with their eyes and they don't like you look, you're not going to get a dance. If your personal hygiene is not the greatest, you may struggle to get a dance. So I think Dixon's trying to put it out there. Guys, take care of your hygiene if you can. If you're coming from work, have a little wash, a wipe down or whatever it is. Buy your aftershave and your perfumes. It does make it easier and nicer for everyone. And this is what the host and panel told me to say. Okay, guys. Foxy, he says he found the Kizomba Friday and the Tuesday after, and immediately went to Gem Bar, and he dragged his brother along, Yes, dear Robert went along and they started their journey. And as he said, the rest is history. As you know, his brother met his wife in Kizomba. So rest in eternal peace, Rob and Sarah. Yeah, they're a lovely couple. Obviously, Fox's brother, big in the Kizomba scene, also DJ'd, and his dear wife Sarah. She, they were both on the scene, nice couple, and have both dearly departed, and we remember them in our thoughts. Thank you, Foxy. Kathleen, she said, loved Kizomba from the beginning and started my classes at the Classic in Tooting. Then COVID hit, and with 3 months of me starting. So, yeah, that was another problem. We lost a lot of dancers to COVID. Georgia, our little friend Georgia, says, I went to salsa after a long break from dancing, heard some music I wasn't familiar with, wandered into the room where there were some slow and low situations happening. I started walking out backwards. Yeah, so I mean, another example of someone walking into the room and being interested and inquisitive, and she's now a Ghetto Zoot lover, and now she's actually developed a love for Semba. Thank you, Georgia. Um, yeah, Izzy's confirming Sonia still does classes. So Sonia, although you were natural and you had one class in beginners and you went up, you're still doing classes. Well done. We need to progress. Georgia saying he persisted and we danced. I was embarrassed, but I loved the music. Went back the following week, did a beginners and an intermediate class, fell in love, and haven't looked back since. It's my passion. We know Georgia's crazy about Kizomba. I danced with Georgia in her very early days, and I can confirm she was a wonderful natural dancer, and she's progressed well, and she still has that burning passion and excitement for Kizomba. He's also saying chocolate gem bar. I struggled, but went to a club where they had 3 teachers. Otherwise, was one teacher's trying to teach all the levels. So that's another thing, and we'll come to Dixon in a little bit. You know, going to a class and then also making sure you have the right service. Not getting left out, not not getting your instructions and your knowledge. And yeah, there's more. There's more. We'll come back to in a moment. Super Dixon into the stage. Tell us about these dancers, the Sonias, the Petronias coming in. They've done their first investigations, looked online. They've gone into a room, had a look. The next week they've done the same. What grabs them at that point? So they've started the classes, and in brief, how do you keep them there? So they've started the classes. What do you believe in what you're teaching holds them to come back the next week and the week after as a teacher?
So, right, that's a good question. To be honest, I think I said it in different words, but I said it before. When I start teaching in the UK, do you know what I mean? I must say again, I never wanted to be a teacher because I knew that mindset of the Kizomba teachers in Portugal, and it's again, it comes from a strict. It's like everybody thinks, oh, you want to come to learn to dance. It's actually stricter. You know what I mean? It's like a ballroom stricter. So when I came to the UK, I started to see that this is a different type of students. And I don't mean my uni students because I knew that I was in uni, so I knew I needed to be a different type. That strictness was on my side. But when I started to teach to the local dancers and older type of dancer, I kind of understood that these guys are not here to learn. These guys are here to socialize or to meet other people and catch up. And so I had obviously Misael and from Cuba, like the Cuban teacher, and a few others that I had to kind of understand that, and I had to start to be more entertaining. Do you know what I mean? And I always been a joker, as everybody knows. I'm a natural joker, so that's not a problem. I used to drop jokes anyway, but I was a way more stricter because I'm here to teach you how to dance. Like I said before, last show I said, I'm not here to be your friend. I am your dad. but I knew that in order to keep people interested, I needed to be nicer, be more entertaining. But most important, my key always was selecting the correct music to get you hooked, addicted, basically. But from my perspective, one of the things I started to do once I separated all the people, because it's like everyone I was working, that was like what Andrea said. It was a watered down version. You know what I mean? And me be coming from the culture, I'm like, I don't want to be like, like I don't quero ser confusionista. Confusionist is a Mozambican word. Like we invented that word. It's not in the dictionary. I said I don't want to cause problems here, but this is not how it's supposed to be. Because they were playing only ghetto zouk, only like the zouk and the very slow music, and I was going nuts because I said that's not. I mean, it's part of the culture, but it should be a mix of music. So one of the things I always did in my classes, and that's why the other schools end up closing, is because I was giving them a selection of music and giving them the right interpretation to dance when the music changes and how to dance. And the people got engaged with that because not only they're listening to amazing music that the others weren't playing, a great variation of music, but the most important thing is with the right method, they were actually learning. Do you know what I mean? A lot of people were doing classes with the other teachers and they were still beginners doing improvers lessons and they couldn't do nothing. But all my students, thank God, thank God that I ended up being a good teacher. I was I love the fact that back then, as soon as salsa is playing, bachata is playing, Kizomba comes, everybody cleans the dance floor. At this time where I've managed to gather after 3 hardworking years, I just see everybody like Moses. Get out of the way. We're coming in. Me, 30, 40 students taking over the dance floor, and everybody could dance to the music. Everybody knew how to stop when the beat stops. Some of the salseros and bachateros, I don't need classes. I can do this. And they were jumping, dancing merengue, and I was like, they don't want to learn from us? From us? That's a you problem. But for me, that was the key that kept all my students coming back week after week. And I'm always blessed that I stuck to the source, and that paid off. But not always is like that. As Andrea said, there's a lot of magazine Kizomba, a lot of watered down versions, and they're playing what they want to play. And that's why it's sad that Kizomba is still people think Kizomba is slow, and I'm like, hey, we more hard work for us, isn't it, Andrea?
Well, Super Dixon, that's very interesting, guys. Put your comments in the chat. Super Dixon has said
And I
he's the
just dropped
man
the
that.
question to Andrea.
Yeah. Well, wait a minute there. He's parted.
What she
He's
said for
parted
me,
the sea.
was gold. The watered down version, right? That didn't convince you, did it?
It didn't convince me to stop, no, because I knew in my heart what Kizomba was, where it came from, what it should be. And so, no, I just stopped going to those watered down events and went to the source, which were the teachers that I knew who grew up with Kizomba. Not just, and I would say there were teachers not just who grew up in the culture. There were other teachers who felt the same as I did. And I used to go to, it wasn't a huge event, but Macumba ran an event in North London, Edmonton, and that was a 2.5 hour drive for me. And I used to drive all the way up there because of his passion for dancing, his passion for the dance, for everything. So yeah, I used to travel up there on a Wednesday night.
He also laid on quite a good spread. You'd get
He
food,
did, didn't he?
get free CDs. It was amazing.
Be fruit and
Yeah.
drinks and stuff. So yeah, but that was a 2.5 hour drive. It was a long drive, but I'd do it. because he had the passion for it. So I would go to the classes with the people who had the passion. Those who were doing it just obviously for money, no, I wouldn't go.
Right,
Was it
guys,
the same
time's
for you,
cracking
lady?
on.
Time is kicking. Yeah. I just want to say, yo,
Right,
easy, yo, easy. I got this. I got this.
right, guys, we are really moving into this session now. We've got some more comments, but I want to put something to our panel. So you're in this stage of your Kizomba life. You've started lessons, most of us. You know, there's a lot of things to think of, and I've got them listed here: music, people, circumstances, drinks. You know, drinks, social catch up, experience in different cultures, finding a partner, overcome experience, coming alone, what's different to other events, as in different genres, safe environment. There's some of the things I've written down. Could make a show for each of those things itself. So you're in the Kizomba community, you're in the environment, you're kind of now settling in. You know, when you walk past, these people know you. At this point, what, apart from the music, I think we've gone past the music now, and we've gone past that kind of love. What are the other things that, you know, you're doing your lessons, you're in a few months, and you're starting to know people? What are the other things that kind of started to come into your life, like other people, obviously, circumstance, like, you know, you wanting to have a drink and a bit of a social. You start to find out more about the culture if you're, you know, if you come across teachers like Tanya and Tocosta and Rikita. What was kind of happening after a few months of lessons? You know, did you start to meet a guy that interested you, or you interested him, and he's proposed a drink? Um, you know, it's an important stage. This of when you've done your lessons and your feet are in the community. I want to go to our panel first, Petronia and Sonia. I think I'll go with Sonia first. Sonia, after a few months to a year, what kept you going in this Kizomba now? You're doing your lessons. That initial thing's burnt off a little bit, obviously, because you're doing classes. In your case, you was already an expert at dance. But you know what
Learn
was
very
keeping you? What was keeping you? Any of the things I mentioned just there?
well. You said not the music, but it was the music. It is the
Yep.
music.
So is
Uh,
it no? But tell us more. Tell us more.
oh, well, I loved Sibo's. I loved that venue. I loved the floor, loved the people, loved the ambience, and that kept me coming back. When they moved to O'Neill's, I didn't quite like it at the beginning, but again, that's another venue that I've grown to love, and particularly because it has a wooden floor. It gets very sticky at times, but it's got a wooden floor, plenty of space. The music sounds great. The bar staff are friendly. The team, Izzy's team, are very friendly as well. And all of those ingredients appeal to me. There are some venues I like chocolate, although I don't go that often. Again, the atmosphere, Shay, always welcoming, always welcoming. I'm familiar with the people that go there. Music's always great. Love the way it sounds. For me, what I failed to mention is that my reggae background, I had a couple of boyfriends that used to drag me to record shops and we'd listen to the latest music that come in from JA. So I know music. I love music. I particularly love the way that it sounds. It has to sound good to me. So all of those ingredients are the things that keep me going back to particular venues. No, not a man, not looking for nobody. Yeah, I just loved music, loved dancing. I could be on the dance floor all night if I could. Yeah. Don't know if that answers your question. What were the
I
other
think
things?
so. I think so. And to any of our male viewers, you know, Sonia, you know, if you dance well and your hygiene's great, you might be in In for a date, you never know.
Bring a spare shirt if you have a problem.
Okay, Petronia, let's see what you have to say.
Yeah, you're right. So, yeah, all of the things that you said earlier on, when you were in your briefing there, Garia, resonated with me. It is the music. I'm an ex-singer. I used to sing backing vocals, and so I love live music. So the music does grip me. And what I like about Kizomba and the music that comes from that area is how it's mixed, how it's laid out, the production of it. It's beautiful. It's beautifully done. I joined Spotify. That Sonia said, go on to Spotify, and I will listen to music incessantly. But then I love the arrangement of it, and so I feel that. So I just think it's very clever. They're very talented, extremely talented, and it's a shame that it's not known more globally. I know it's global, but that it's not, I don't know, number one, or if there's a pop parade of it, I'm sure they are. They're all very famous, but it's very beautifully done. But that said as well, on the other side, in terms of coming into Kizomba, I really like the feeling I get when I mix with everybody. It's very familial, from a family orientated. I've got to know people. I don't mind going to Gem Bar. I like going to Seba's. I going to O'Neill's. I follow certain DJs and promoters. But what I like is that I will meet, whilst I'll meet new people, I'll still meet the same people, and they are my family as such. Now, I've never been able to do that from reggae, from R&B. You can't, as a woman, go, there wasn't the history then of going to these sorts of venues and having a good time and asking someone to dance. The fact that I could ask men to dance revolutionized my life. Stop looking at me like that, Super Dix. But it was true. I was there to have a good time. I love the music. My feet were ready to dance. And if I was going to stand there on the sidelines waiting for someone to ask me to dance in another environment, I would be very disappointed. That doesn't come across in Kizomba. And that was a game changer for me, as well as loving the music. I could enjoy it on terms that I liked. And it wasn't just because I felt I was confident to do so. It was because it was acceptable within that environment, which I loved, and I still love it. And I don't see there any need to be any change for that as I progress into Kizomba. I've been doing it about 12 years now, 13 years, and that's great. So I wouldn't want to go back from that. If on the odd times I go to another, we'll go out, Sonia and I, and we'll go to some soul do or a soul weekend or an all day or anything else. And you stand around, the music could be great. You listen to all the old school, and we're thinking, I want to get up and dance. And there's not the culture that allows you to go and pull someone into dance in the same way. Where would you come back to something like Kizomba or even salsa, and you can do that? And it's sort of like coming home. So I don't know if that answers your question. I think I've gone off.
Well, it's very interesting. I like the fact that
how it makes me feel.
Yeah. I like the fact that you've put some of the things that I've said in there. The venue itself is very important, and we'll come to the comments in a minute. But the venue, something I used to really like was 10, 11 years ago. You would go to an event, and then the next night there was another one, and for a fact that everyone's going to be there tomorrow, and then there'll be 2 days later, and the same crowd, and then it was a family. And as Dixon used that term, you salute, and it was like everyone was together, and we went to, there's probably less events, let's say, but you knew they were going to be in the event in the next 2 days, and at the weekend they're going to be there. And it was a real family back in the day. It's changed slightly over the years, obviously, but a very important point you picked out on there. And it allowed people to be more confident, and it allowed people to get more dances because we were more tight. We knew each other a lot better. Now you get a lot more newbies coming in, and of course there were always newbies, but I think now people don't go to certain places. They'll follow particular teacher or DJ and that's it, and they won't go to another place for whatever reason. So yeah, some good points there. I just want to go quickly to some comments. He's communicating to Dixon. Dixon said he was a good teacher. We are supposed to tell him. Yeah, so I think Izzy's trying to say that we're supposed to tell him, and Dixon's not supposed to say it himself. And then he in turn says, "Yes, you are." And Super Dixon's challenged him. Invite me, and you will see. Okay, so Izzy, the olive branch is out there. Do you want a bit of the Super Dixon coming to O'Neill's? That's what. That'll be interesting. Anna's put dancing kizomba is a breath, it's like a breath of fresh air. It's a relaxing thing. It's a stress reliever. Again, it comes back to the music, guys. I know I asked a few questions about other things, but music is most important, right? And I've known Georgia has said that in the chat too. Evening Lee Smooth, he's saying, me, it's like Cheers. I'm guessing it's a TV show where everyone knows your name, and so if you're at loose end, you can pick me up, and it's all about knowing everyone. Lee's saying, guys, Izzy's trying to defend himself. It's a joke, Gary O. Well, let's see if you invite him, Izzy. I don't know. Dixon, I think you're in the driving seat with that one. Kathleen, definitely the music coming from a background of Zouk. The beat and the atmosphere is to die for. Yeah. Again, everyone's saying the music's more important. Guys, so we've just got about half an hour left. I want to bring Andrea in here. Andrea, so you've seen both sides of the coin. You continued, you started doing these lessons, you spoke to the Kizomba hierarchy, the likes of Tanya and Rikita, you argued with Eddie, so you started getting in to know these types of people that can give you the education. So you're in the middle of your journey. Let's start with you as a dancer. In brief, can you tell us, so you took stuff on from the girls there and you argued with Eddie. So was this quite young into your adventure, you arguing with Eddie, or was that later on? And at that point, after you started lessons after a year, what was next? What kept you there?
I don't think I ever. Eddie and I would have discussions. One of the main discussions was that I don't think you have to be raised in the culture in order to dance it. And yeah, I just irritated his vibe, let's say, because I will challenge you if I don't necessarily agree with what you're saying. But most with Eddie was good natured discussions, I think. Why did I stay? Why did I stay? It was
Yeah,
like
after your lessons, so some people leave. You stayed.
yeah. So I stayed because it was like an addiction. I think for a lot of it, for a lot of people, obviously, or for me, I can only talk about me. Yeah, it was my heartbeat. Yes. Um, I I found something that I was good at. Not me as a mum, not me as um, I was a youth worker at the time, so not me as a youth worker, or not me as someone's sister, not me as somebody. It just me, Andrea, was really good at dancing. So I got a buzz from it, a real buzz from a guy or a girl, whoever, saying, "Oh, that was a really nice dance." Someone told me last night I made them feel really special. Another guy said to me the other night, he said, "When I dance with you, I can just dance. I don't have to think about it because obviously I blow my own trumpet, but I am quite a good follower. So those sorts of things, if you everyone needs to hear nice things about them. Everyone likes to hear a compliment, and this is something that I am good at. It's something that I love, and it really is an addiction for me. Those years of COVID when we couldn't go dancing, when we couldn't go out, was like real withdrawal. You know, there was Remember the Times was on, with the DJs all got together and could play the music, and we could still talk to each other, but it was not the same as not dancing, not the same as getting that buzz that you get, after you've been dancing. So that's why I stayed. I mean, I still teach salsa, Cuban salsa, but I don't get the same buzz. I went to the Cuban room by mistake at El Grande last couple of weeks ago, and I got caught up dancing, and it wasn't the same as being downstairs with Kizomba, getting that vibe, that the music. It's definitely the music for me. I could listen to that music forever. It's in my car, it's in my house, wherever I am, that music's on.
Thank you, Andrea. So, guys, it seems like it's an addiction for many of us. We go out, and what I notice, it literally is every week. People are going out there to do, and we must be careful when we say dance kizomba. It's not only kizomba. We got zouk and the other genres under the umbrella, but we're using it as a term. You know, everything under that umbrella. But yeah, it seems like it's an addiction. Petronia, it seems like we have the best teacher on the show and the best dancer. I think we need to also tell us what we're best at. Do you wanna put your foot forward and blow your trumpet and tell us, how good you are? I mean, you've done your classes and you've stayed in Kizomba. Is it because you were addicted, so you carried on? As I said, a lot of people tailed off. They said it's not for me. They had a few months of classes. Nah. They went to Gem Bar and it was like a jungle, not in a bad way, but you looked and you thought, how am I going to get a dance? These are also great dancers. They're not going to look at me. And you had to really fight yourself and burst through the door to get a look in. But you carried on. So after you'd done lessons for a year or two, what kept you there?
I do enjoy it. I feel that I'm an accomplished dancer. I didn't feel that I had to push through to that extent. I did enjoy it. I have been complimented on my following as I go along. I know, I'm not everyone's cup of tea, I suppose, but I love the music and I love how I can interpret that on the dance floor. I get enough dancers everywhere I go to not feel as if I'm not a good dancer. So that's fine. I know there are other people who might think otherwise or might think, I don't want to blow my own trumpet in that way, but I never felt as if I had to push through. Because I enjoy the dance, I maybe that allows people to think that, yes, they can ask me for a dance. And the fact that I can ask dancers myself, I can then grow my own knowledge. I see now that I've got to the stage where I don't feel afraid, I suppose, to ask a DJ or a promoter to come and ask and to dance, because I used to feel that way. I will treat that dance with that person as a lesson. And if I'm dancing with a good teacher, like, I don't know, Rico or I can't think of anyone else, and they say, oh, but you're fine, you flow so nicely. And I mean, they may be being very polite, and I'm sure they are, but I get such a good vibe from dancing with those sorts of teachers. as well. I know I keep mentioning Rico because I can't think of anyone else, and Rico is a great teacher, and I do dance nicely with him. But in the past, for example, I've danced with, say, is it Toe Costa at Nomad, and the same as you're saying, Andrew, and he would often tell me off. But this was back in the early days because I obviously wasn't doing something right, and he could knock my confidence just like that. But I grew into it.
Angolan uncle, Angolan uncle.
And exactly, but I respected him. He would say, "Oh, you know, and this is what you will do if you're not doing it well. The teacher will turn you around in a circle so that you can start again." And he would do that with me often, which told me that yes, I still had a lot to learn, but I took that on board. But I took that as a positive thing. So that helped.
Petronia, that's really wonderful. And as you said, Tocosta, it is really interesting that you've mentioned this, because by the time this guy is finished with you, if you come back, you really love this dance. And if you come back, you're tough. Because I remember doing his class 11 years ago, and he said, I'm telling you now, if everyone does not get this move, we're going to do it all night. And we actually did it all night. And everyone came back the next week, and the same thing happened. And then eventually everyone was on point. So, you know, on that note, do teachers help people to leave Kizomba because they're too harsh? It's interesting. So you've done a class for 2 years and you're there. What keeps you is the music. We know it's the music now. But could a teacher send you the other way and force you to
Not
leave?
for me personally, sorry to butt in, not for me personally, but I can see how that might make people feel a bit nervous, send them scurrying away. It could be a confidence thing. I was determined to keep going on, but as I said before, the music drew me back, and I wanted to be able to dance to that music. I felt it. So the fact that I might have a harsh teacher at that time and my confidence might be crushed for a bit didn't stop me to keep going, because I still had a family. I still loved the music. I still wanted to go on. Maybe not everyone will see it that way, but that definitely helped me. I saw it as a positive thing. After I was wounded and then came back, that was fine, because I saw it as a nurturing space for me, being told off by Toe Costa.
Yeah, and we've had Foxy say the same thing. He was told off 3 weeks in a row or something like that, and hung out to dry, put out there, and you know, he did actually stop. I believe that was in Southside. He stopped going, so we know what can happen, but it's an addiction. The music,
Famous words, bro. This
yeah.
is not a democracy.
Well, the main man has said it. Sonia, are you going to tell me you're a better dancer than Andrea? Are you going to blow your own trumpet?
I don't know. I don't think I'm a better dancer than anybody. I compliment myself on being able to follow most dancers, most male dancers, 99.9% of the time. And in that respect, I think I'm a good dancer. I don't need people to tell me that I am. I know that I am. Yeah. And Petroni will know, I've got a habit of, at festivals, being asked to dance by instructors unknowingly, and then complimenting them on their dancing, and then coming off the dance floor, I think, do you know who you just danced with? I said, no, who? How many times have I done that, Petrona?
So many times. Oh my gosh. And she says, oh, he was quite a good dancer. I said, well, he should be. He runs this, and she has no idea. She had no idea.
Yeah.
So she will compliment all these teachers and promoters as if she's the expert, because she is.
No, I'll compliment anyone that I've had a really nice dance with. I've enjoyed the dance with, definitely.
So, in short, you continued because you were addicted, would you say?
Definitely addicted. Yeah,
absolutely.
Guilty as charged.
Yeah, and me.
So I want to ask you guys, we say it's the music, and I tend to agree. Any event I go to, I'm looking at the DJs and I'm thinking, he's not going to play my type of music tonight. So I need to make a decision here, right? So on the note of we go, and it's definitely the music, we're saying, if the music is not good on a said night, what then? Does that change the whole experience for you on that night? Does it make you think, or do you somehow use another attribute within the night? Oh, the venue and the floor is nice. Oh, I'll get a drink and maybe I'll talk to someone. Does it change your whole night? Does it put you in a bad mood when the music's not great? Sonia.
It doesn't put me in a bad mood. It can be disappointing because if you've made a connection with someone, say it's Semba, for example, they've just put a Semba track on, and then the next track they've played is Tarashina, where you've not enjoyed your 3 or however many dances. They don't. Some DJs just don't bring you down gently, and that can be disappointing. But it wouldn't put me off to the extent that I wouldn't go back or I'd go and sulk in a corner with my drink. No, I just hope that they play some nicer tracks so they can get back on the dance floor.
Good. Guys, we've just got over 10 minutes left. I want to quickly go to some comments. Georgia, she said, I like dancing with the teachers. It scares me a little, but I thrive on that. And she says she's danced with Evaldo last night and he was great. So there are people, no matter how scared they are, they just love dancing with teachers for whatever reason. George was one of them. Kathleen is saying it's definitely addiction. Well, everyone keeps saying it, so there must be something to it. Kathleen, get Dill on the show, please. We haven't heard from her. Izzy saying it cost him a lot of money to bribe all of them. Sonia. I'm not getting into that one. Sonia, do you want to tell us what Izzy saying?
Cheers, Izzy. That's all right.
Right. So yeah, I mean, guys,
Don't forget to
everyone
cash in
keeps
the
saying,
money. Don't forget to cash in the money.
yeah, everyone's saying it's an addiction. Yeah, as I said, it's not long now, just over 10 minutes. Guys, I want to bring it to the current. So now you've all become experienced. Some of us have gone on to teach, Andrea, Dixon, or take prominent roles. Everything has changed. We had the urban kind of event where that's coming into the scene. 2016 mainstream, it's coming. Then we had COVID 4 years later. So there's been some big experiences, big changes. Going into Europe, coming out of Europe, loads of people left and went back to their countries. So there's been some big events, big changes. After all of this, some of us are still here. So Andrea, you've moved on to teach, and guys, we need to keep this brief because there's only 10 minutes left. You've moved on to teaching and organizing events. At any point, did you think, I've had enough of this? And was it still mainly the music that's kept you here? Or now, been a teacher and been an organizer, mixing with people, guiding them, mentoring them, and actually providing a service by having events, is that what's kept you? Can you just tell us in brief?
So you need to keep your questions brief, Gary-O. No, and I've had a lot of negative experience in dancing, to be fair. But that's not the dance. It's not the dancer's fault that there are negative people out there. It's the music that keeps me there. It's the connection that I've had with people. So it's not, no. I mean, I started teaching because the venue I attended didn't have any. This is just after COVID, and people still weren't coming out. So I was going dancing. I've been teaching for a long time, so I was asked to teach. I started my own night because, again, it's the music choice. My music preference is different to other people, and so I wanted. I was asked to start an event. I was sponsored to start an event, which I've done. And no, I just love dancing, and that's all. It's not about me. It's about the music. It's about people being able to go out and enjoy themselves in a safe environment, have fun, and dance as much as they or as little as they want to. Because not everyone goes out to dance all night. They go out to see their friends and what have you. But yeah,
Yeah, guys, we come back to it. It's the music. So, Super Dixon, in brief, you grew up in the system, let's say, um, experienced many types of music under the umbrella, um, came to the UK. Just tell us, adding a teaching and organizing events to your dancing part of life, what's kept you there? Which of those three has kept you?
Honestly, everybody's saying Kizomba is an addiction, and I know everybody's saying. I always said the most important thing about, and you need to think about this even in normal life. Even say this is an addiction. This is an addiction. When it comes to Kizomba, I always say to people, because I know the problem of the Kizomba addiction, but I always said it should be connected, not addicted. The only reason I start and kept staying is because I knew that it's like, I don't know what the other teachers were doing. A lot of people say a lot of names, and I know that I've seen them teach and whatnot. But for me, the most important thing that keeps me staying is because I know the importance of the connection. And one of the things I knew is like all the teachers were focused on steps. And for me, it's always been what Kizomba became about. When Kizomba became a thing, it was about connection between two individuals with the music. So again, music is what draws us to the dance floor. Do you know what I mean? Music is what draws us. And the thing is most important that everybody's been saying about this, they didn't felt the same with salsa. Others would say that they wouldn't feel the same with bachata. But Kizomba, I always said this, salsa and bachata is a do dance. It's a happy dance. Do you know what I mean? But when it comes to Kizomba, it's a feeling dance. That's why it changes you so much. That's why it's like it calls to you. One of the things I wanted to say early in the show, but I didn't have an opportunity, and I wanted to reiterate this because one of the things that I got masters in tourism, and one of the chairs that I had was ethnography, which is a chair which was a discipline that allowed me to study more about the other cultures. So every time I decided to teach a new person, I had to think where this person comes from, and I think, because you come from India, okay, in India they don't dance to the drum, they dance to the doldrum, to the little guitar, ding, 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 ding. And I was like, wait, so Asians don't listen to the beat? So for me to understand where you come from, it was very important for me to make sure I can deliver to you how we dance, how you connect. And you cannot teach people to connect in a certain way. You can just give them the tools, right? One of the things that I was always very perplexed is why the Caribbeans or the Africans, the British Africans and Caribbeans are not dancing Kizomba. And I was perplexed. Why? And I had to delve deeper into that. So everybody speaks about my guy, Winston Foxy. He said it. It's like, oh yeah, I'm glad that I can dance Kizomba because you could never dance reggae. Or like Pashonia said, R&B. You would never, your mama would not allow that, right? So for me, honestly, again, coming from my background of dancing, obviously I grew up with the culture, but my background of dancing is hip hop and R&B. So when the Kizomba music started to fuse with these elements, they got me. I was hooked. That rhythm and blues, that calls you to vibe, to connect with with another person. But the best part about Kizomba is from the original onset, it wasn't something sexual. But I do wanted to ask, but maybe we leave it for another time. And I want the ladies to the ladies and to our viewers to think about this, especially the Afro Caribbeans, is that because of your social constrictions, is that why you didn't dance Kizomba earlier? And I will end the show on
We'll
that
come back to that.
because we need
We'll
to
come
finish.
back to that.
Yeah.
We've only got just a few moments left, just a couple of moments. So I quickly want to, engage with our viewers and listeners. Izzy said, it can't be bad all night. London is blessed with so many great DJs. I understand a few tracks here and there, and sometimes it goes awry when the DJs try new stuff. But DJs need to try new stuff, otherwise we can just play certain playlists and get bored. Yes, good point, Izzy. Um, Anna, she's saying, who loves dancing will dance to any song from any DJ, but the good memories and vibes will impact the decision of coming back or try another venue. I kind of half agree with that, Anna. As I said, guys, I mean, Soul David, welcome, Soul, my man. Soul, as we know,
My guy.
Soul from the Midlands, and we can say dance with Soul. He's coming with big words. Oxytocin and serotonin is the addiction lot. Is addiction, lol. So social dancing is the medium. The unique thing about Kizomba is the fact that you share another human being's heart space. That's very sweet,
Wow.
David, and
That was deep. Yeah, my
wonderfully
guy. My
put.
guy Saul David from Birmingham.
Wonderfully put.
Wow.
Wonderfully put. Okay, guys, we're gonna start shutting down now. So we'll go to the panel just for the last overview. Sonia and Petronia, you've gone through your journey. You're still here, and just confirm to us what keeps you coming in this current day, last night, over the weekend. Why are you still going? Why do you still love Kizomba?
Yeah, myself, I just want to have more of the same. I found my happy place. It is the connection. I hear what you're saying, Super Dixon. It's true. It's that connection you feel when you quantify it in that way. That's exactly what it is. And having not felt a connection like that with other genres or other music as I've grown up, you got to this place, and that will long may it can continue. And the fact that you can be doing it with it into your older age, whatever that might look like to some people, is immaterial, and that's a bonus for me. And when you're a music lover, as I am, that doesn't go away just because you hit any particular age. So that's what keeps me going.
Sonia, do
Love
you
it.
agree?
Yeah, I do agree. Yeah, it is that connection. Somebody said that heart space that you share. There are some tracks, and particularly if you're dancing with a really good dancer who's leading you around that floor, sometimes there are tracks that make me feel that I'm flying or soaring. I can't describe it any other way. It's just that feeling that you get of pure enjoyment, pure love for the music. Can't say anything more than that, really.
That's wonderfully put. And as we're closing down the last comments, Foxy, panel member Foxy said, if the music is not on point, you kill the vibes. Simple. And I agree with him. If the music's not on point, for me, it totally changes the night. It changes the passion for me just for that night, but it does affect. And so, David, just before we finish, he wanted to answer Super Dixon's comment there about the Caribs not dancing Kizomba quickly and earlier. He said, I'll answer that quickly about Kizomba and the Caribbean peoples. We didn't dance it because of the division of the past colonialism. That's very interesting, Soul, and we'd love to have you back on the show another night. And evening, Mr. Barros. Thank you for joining us. It's a bit late, but we'll go to our host. In closing, Super Dixon, tell us what you want to say before we go.
the reason why I said that, and I wanted to say it earlier, I wanted to bring that to the conversation, but I think we can squeeze it in another show for sure. Soul David was actually, I think he's from Barbados, if I'm not mistaken, but he was the
Correct.
person that I actually came to many years ago. Do you know what I mean? I actually asked them about the social constrictions from a Caribbean perspective on why you cannot dance with a couple. Bear in mind, we had this in Portugal, but we didn't care. We still did our underground parties, and we still, we don't care if we cannot do what you want. And I must say one more time, Tarraxinha. Again, everybody keeps talking about Tarraxinha. Listen, it is what it is. Some of the Tarraxinha music, and again, some of the Ghetto Zouk music, it was very strongly inspired by the Zouk love Caribbean music. One of the reasons that most of you guys don't even understand why you're addicted is because this is bringing you home the Zouk music, the
Exactly.
Kassam,
Exactly.
everything that you are listening, you don't know why, is because it's in your blood. That's why
Exactly.
it's important to understand that you're all addicted, because
Yeah.
this is home. This is home.
Yeah.
Kizomba is home. Thank you.
Super Dixon, I back you on that, and I 100% agree, and it's why we're hooked. Now we have to close with, before we go to the final word from our host, please join us on our next show. We hope to be with you in 2 weeks. We're on all the social media platforms. Let's Talk Kizomba fan page on Facebook, Facebook group Let's Talk Kizomba, Instagram Let's Talk Kizomba, and of course we are on YouTube, youtube.com/at Let's Talk Kizomba. Guys, it's been really lovely having you. We've had good numbers tonight. Thank you for your interactions. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your views. Thank you for some of the big organizers that have joined us: Izzy, Soul, our regulars, Anna, Kathleen. Thank you for joining us, Dorothy. Thank you to the panel again. And we'll go to Andrea for the last word. Andrea, will you still be dancing Kizomba? Will you still be teaching Kizomba? And will you still be doing events? You're here, you've reached this far. Will you be stopping, or you're going to carry on?
Try and stop me. No, I mean, obviously it's something you think about and you think, oh, crumbs, what if I could never dance again? But I would find a way. It's too ingrained in my soul to not dance, I might, eventually stop teaching and just to go to social events, but it will be my choice. It won't be anybody else's choice. No, I found it's never going to leave me.
Okay, this is brilliant, guys. So most of the panel, and of course the host, they seem to be telling us they will continue. It's in their blood. It's an addiction. Some of the words used, and they're not going to stop. And the music keeps them there. The music seems to be the thing. So thank you for joining us. We're going to play you out with the last song from Andrea. Join us in 2 weeks' time for another episode of Let's Talk Kizomba with myself, Andrea, Super Dixon, Foxy, Petronia, and Sonia. We wish you good night and enjoy your week, whatever you're doing. Andrea.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Night.
Don't forget to be happy, mi gente. See you when I see you.
A família já me olha como uma
Great song.
mentira. Supostamente não era pra ficar comigo. Não temos casa pra morar, mas insistem em casar. Como será depois? Como será depois? Saiba que eu te amo, amor. Tudo que eu mais quero é te dar o meu coração, receber tua paixão. Deixa de pensar besteira, estamos juntos na trincheira. Mas eu não sei como buscar as condições. Temos renda pra pagar, a creche pra pagar.